Now we will be solving the question answers of The Power of Music by Sukumar Ray. If you find my video to be useful, please subscribe to my channel. So let us have a look at the first question. So let us have a look at the extract first. When summer comes, we hear the hums, Bhishma Lochan Sharma. The people dazed retire amazed, though they know it's well meant. Now, the first part. Who is Bhishma Lochan Sharma? How is he singing? Like I tell you in all my videos, in the first half of the question, you always have to mention the name of the poem and the poet. And every question must be answered in separate paragraphs. So, who is Bhishma Lochan Sharma? The quoted lines have been taken from Sukumar Ray's allegorical poem, The Power of Music. Written to humiliate the 20th century colonized India, Bhishma Lochan Sharma metaphorically represents the British Raj. He is depicted as someone who is hell-bent to sing. So whenever you are quoting from the poem, you have to use double quotes. And when you are mentioning the name of a text, the name of a poem, you have to mention it within single quote. And because this is an allegorical poem, that is a poem with multiple meaning, a surface meaning and an inner meaning, you have to mention both the meanings in every part of your answer. And how is his singing? Bhishma Lochan's singing was loud and disturbing. It was a bellow that soared, booming out on the hills and plain. Symbolically, it refers to the commands of the British. Coming to the second part. Why does the speaker say that his strain can be heard from Delhi down to Burma? The speaker says that his strain could be heard from Delhi to Burma to emphasize the loudness of his singing. Although it may appear like a hyperbole, symbolically it refers to the extent of the British rule. The British exercised their rule from Delhi to Burma. What does the speaker say about Bhishma Lochan's continuous singing? The speaker says that Bhishma Lochan Sharma was hell-bent to sing. He continuously sang as though he had gambled his life. The speaker symbolically states that the British Raj remained unconcerned about the impact of their commands on the Indians. They continued their commands and soared beyond our reach. See, we are giving both the meanings. And you have to use phrases from the poem to enhance your answers. Else, you won't be able to fetch good marks. Fourth part. Although the people get confused on hearing Bhishma Lochan singing, what do they think about him? What does this suggest about him? So the first part first. Although the people get confused on hearing Bhishma Lochan singing, they consider his blare to be well meant. Symbolically, it shows how some Indians were submissive to the British rule. What does this suggest about him? That is about Bhishma Lochan Sharma. This suggests that unconcerned Bhishmalochan Sharma controlled the people with the power of music. Symbolically, it suggests that the Britishers successfully colonized the helpless Indians. Coming to the fifth part. Explain briefly the genre of this poem. State the figure of speech used to attain this characteristic of this genre. So the answer is, The Power of Music is an allegorical poem that satirizes the 20th century colonized India under the British Raj. And what figure of speech is used to make it a successful satire? Sukumar Ray uses metaphors, hyperbole and nonsense verse to parody the situation with humor, escaping the censorship of the British press. Now coming to the second question. Let us have a look at the extract. They trampled in the panic rout or languish pale and sickly. From there to the bullock carts are overturned and horses line the broadside. So the first part. Who are they referred to and what happened to them? So the quoted lines have been taken from The Power of Music by Sukumar Ray. They refers to the people who were frustrated and disturbed by Bhishmalochan Sharma's hell-bent strain. Symbolically, it refers to the suppressed Indians under the British rule. And what happened to them? The booming out of Bhishmalochan's hums made the people dazed and amazed. They were either weak, lifeless and sickly, or they were crushed in a panic chase. Symbolically, the colonized Indians were either weakened by the British Raj or they were stampeded during their protests. Now the second part. To whom do they plead and why? The wretched people pleaded Bhishmalochan Sharma to stop his train quickly. The people resented the blare of Bhishmalochan's song that soared beyond their reach. Symbolically, the colonized Indians pleaded the British Raj to end their commands because they were unbearable, drawing the Indians near an end. Now the third part. What is the effect of their pleading? What does it suggest about the man whom they pleaded for? Bhishmalochan Sharma remained unconcerned and continued his blare. The pleading of the people had no impact on his hell-bent hums. Symbolically, the protests of the Indians had no effect on the commands and rulership of the British Raj. What does it suggest about the man whom they pleaded for? Like the determined Britishers, Bhishmalochan Sharma was resolute about his decision. This suggests that he was hell-bent to continue his power of music. Now the fourth part. What is the effect of his singing on animals and birds? So the answer is Bhishmalochan's strain led the wretched animals to whine. wonder, and stare with feet in air. His broadside made the fishes sink below the lake in search for silence, and caused the birds to turn turtle while they were winging. Symbolically, the commands of the Britishers led the people to revolt, while some drowned themselves for independence, others lost their freedom. Now the fifth part. Which poetic device is used by the poet in this extract? Why does he achieve his objective? Give reason. So which poetic device is used? The poet makes use of hyperbole and metaphors in this extract. He makes use of hyperbole in the surface level to exaggerate the impact of Bhishma singing on the animals and nature. Symbolically, he employs metaphors to escape the censorship of the British press. Does he achieve his objective? Yes, Sukumar Ray achieves his objective by skillfully satirizing the colonized India under the British Raj using nonsense verse. He successfully makes the British press believe that his poem was meant for children. Now coming to the third question. Let's have a look at the extract. But Bhishma unconcerned, goes booming out his broadside. From there to the feathered fly turn turtle while they are winging. So the first part of the question. What is Bhishma unconcerned about? What is meant by booming out his broadside? So the quoted lines have been taken from the Power of Music by Sukumar Ray. Bhishma was unconcerned about the plead of the people. He was undisturbed by the bullock carts that were overturned and the impact of his strain on the animals and birds. Symbolically, the British Raj was uninterested by the revolts and protests of the colonized Indians. Now coming to the second half. What is meant by booming out his broadside? Bhishma annoying blare is referred to as his broadside. His strain was booming out and making a loud sound. Symbolically, the Britishers were booming out or shouting out their commands. The second part. Who were the wretched brutes? Why did they behave abnormally? The displeased listeners who were upset by Bhishma loud strain are referred to as wretched brutes. Symbolically, they refer to the colonized Indians. And why did they behave abnormally? The wretched brutes behaved abnormally because they disliked Bhishma bear and found his unconcerned singing unbearable. Symbolically, the colonized Indians could not tolerate the commands of the British Raj. Now the third part. State the three activities done by the wretched brutes on hearing Bhishma singing. On the surface level, the wretched brutes cried, stared with feet in air and wondered in confusion the hour they heard Bhishmalochan singing. Symbolically, the Indians protested, marched, and helplessly revolted against the commands of the Britishers. Now the fourth part. How are the fishes and trees affected by Bhishmalochan's singing? Answer. The fishes sank below the lake in search for silence, and the trees shook and collapsed due to Bhishmalochan's singing. Symbolically, while many helpless Indians drowned themselves for freedom, some eminent figures died due to the commands of the British Raj. Now, the last part of this question. What happens to the birds in the sky? Do you agree with the speaker of the poem? Give reason. The speaker states that the birds turn upside down while flying. Yes, I agree with the speaker of the poem. Although in the surface level, the overturned bird's winging in the sky seems hyperbolic, symbolically, the freedom of the Indians was overturned by the commanding Britishers. Now the last question. The welkin weeps to hear his screech, and mighty mansions tumble from there to the very end of the poem, and Bhishmalochan grants the world the golden gift of silence. So the first part of the question. Who weeps in this extract and why? Which figure of speech is used in welkin weeps? So the answer is, the quoted lines have been taken from the Power of Music by Sukumar Ray. The welkin or the sky weeps in the extract. The sky laments on hearing the screech of Bhishmalochan's train. Symbolically, the people in India wept helplessly under the British rule. And what figure of speech is used in welkin weeps? The phrase welkin weeps is both an alliteration and a personification. It is an alliteration as both the terms begin with the same letter, and it is a personification because the human-like quality of weeping is attributed to the non-living sky. So whenever you are answering a question where you have to give the figure of speech, always remember you have to justify your answer. You have to reason out why you are saying that welkin weeps is an alliteration, why welkin weeps is a personification. Coming to the second part. What happens to the mighty mansions? Which natural object met the same fate as the mansions earlier in the poem? So the answer is, the vibration of Bhishmalochan's song resulted in the tumbling down of the mighty mansions. Symbolically, it refers to the ruining of the mighty monuments under the British rule in India. Like the mansions, the trees met the same fate. They too collapsed on hearing the screech of Bhishmalochan's blare. Now the third part. Why is the billy goat described as a most sagacious fellow? So unlike the people who humbly pleaded Bhishmalochan Sharma to stop his singing, the billy goat directly attacked him by lowering down his horns. The speaker describes the billy goat as a most sagacious fellow for its wise action. Symbolically, it refers to those freedom fighters who directly revolted against the British commands. Now the fourth part. What did the billy goat do which most others could not? And how did he do it? The billy goat charged Bhishmalochan Sharma directly, which most others could not. Symbolically, the freedom fighters revolted against the Britishers directly. And how did they do it? The billy goat lowered its horn and attacked Bhishmalochan just the way the fearless freedom fighters answered the commanding Britishers with their revolts and arms. Now the last part of this question and the last question from this poem. Which figure of speech is used in the last line of the poem? What is the significance of this line? Give reason to support your answer. So in the last line of the poem, the speaker uses a metaphor and an alliteration. While he uses an alliteration in the phrase golden gift, he employs the metaphor of Bhishmalochan to represent the Britishers. What is the significance of this line? You have to give reasons. So the last line of the poem is very significant. Although it explicitly shows the ending of Bhishmalochan's hell-bent singing, it implicitly denotes the termination of the British rule in India. Bhishmalochan's silence refers to the gift of independence. So, with this, we come to an end of today's discussion. If you have any queries, feel free to ask me in the comment section below. And if you want to listen to the explanation of this poem, check out my playlist because I have explained each and every line of this poem in another video. The description box has all the links to the other texts, the links to Julius Caesar, which you will find most helpful. I also have a Telegram channel and a WhatsApp channel where we discuss grammar. So if you want to join that, you may join that too. So till I come up with my next video, happy studying English. Ta-ta!